What's going on, everybody? My name is Tajhwalker, and today I'm going to talk about the difference in living between Los Angeles, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. So if you are considering making a move to either one of those states, here we're going to talk about some of the differences between the two, so stay tuned. Hey, what is going on, everybody? My name is Tajhwalker, and I am a local realtor here in the metro Atlanta area, and today I'm going to talk to you about the differences in living between Los Angeles, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. So a little disclaimer before I get started. This information is not based on my opinion. It's simply researched into and statistics and data I've pulled from a variety of sources to share with you to give you an idea of the difference in living between these two places. But I encourage you to do some of your own research as well. But I hope you find this valuable. But in addition to that, we're going to talk about everything from population to density, to cost of living, to transportation, to crime, to schools, all these things here in the upcoming minutes in this video. This is also close to home for me because I personally made the move from Los Angeles, California, that area, Riverside specifically, about an hour south of Los Angeles, to Atlanta about 6 or 7 years ago. So I'm excited to share this with you. So with that, let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the population and the density. So specifically, to give some context, we are going to talk about the population numbers according to 2022 data, but we're also going to talk about the metro area, which incorporates many counties. So in Atlanta, the population is just over 6 million individuals, just over 6 million, as compared to Los Angeles, which is about 12.5 million people. So a drastic difference in the population between these two cities. In addition to that, we're going to talk about density. And density, simply put, is just the amount of people per area of space in a city. So also a drastic difference here. Atlanta is much more spread out. Atlanta is known for being a city in a forest, and the density is a lot more dispersed as compared to Los Angeles. So in Atlanta, it's just about 3,600, a little over 3,600 as compared to Los Angeles, which is about 7,400. And this is 2018 and 2010 data. But as you can see here, there's a drastic difference, not only in population, but density, the amount of people in a particular space between these two cities. So next, transportation. So I thought moving to Atlanta, the transportation was going to be much better. But to be perfectly honest, Atlanta traffic is terrible. It is really, really bad. So if you're expecting to move from Los Angeles to Atlanta and have an improvement in traffic, you're not really going to get it here. It's not that much better, if any better at all. And I know Los Angeles traffic is pretty bad as well. But anyways, in terms of public transportation, Atlanta has essentially one of the worst public transportation systems out there as compared to Los Angeles that has one of the best. So let me read you something. Los Angeles is home to one of the country's best public transportation networks, including subways, light rail, shuttles, buses, all these different things. And that's according to an article I found comparing Los Angeles public transportation to Atlanta's public transportation. So if you're looking to transition to Atlanta and you're looking for efficient and good public transportation, you're not going to get it coming here. It's not that great. In addition, what about the commute? Does it get any better moving from Los Angeles to Atlanta? Not really. The commute on average for both of these places is quite large, or a long period of time as compared to the average. So for Los Angeles, it's about 30 minutes, 0.4, as compared to Atlanta, which is actually 31 minutes, 31.4. So actually a little bit longer in Metro Atlanta than Los Angeles, which I was surprised about. But it just goes to show you that in most places you have to have a car here in Atlanta to get places efficiently, because in addition to that, like I said, the public transportation isn't the best. Whereas in Atlanta, I'd probably say a car is ideal, but their public transportation system is much more efficient for those looking to, walk places or get places without their own transportation. So let's talk gas prices. So I have the average gas price comparison between California and Georgia specifically. So this is going to be important because in both places, you're going to need a car to get around efficiently, although maybe less so in Los Angeles because their public transportation is a little bit better. But let's talk about the differences in average gas prices for the state of California and Georgia. This is important. So in California, the average gas price is over $6. It's about $6.39 as compared to Georgia, where the average gas price is about $4.47. So a drastic difference in the cost. And this is just average regular gas to fill up your tank. Something to keep in mind. So let's now talk about cost of living, and this is a big one. This is typically the impetus for most folks considering to transition from any state. But what I've learned, this is important for folks transitioning from Los Angeles to Atlanta. So as folks may know, it's a lot less expensive to live in the South, where Atlanta is, as compared to any coastal state, California, Los Angeles in particular. So let me read you some information here that's quite eye-opening. So Los Angeles is 61% more expensive to live than Atlanta. Now this is across the board in terms of gas, food, all these different things that make up this number, but 61% more expensive to live in Los Angeles than it does to live in Atlanta, Georgia. Secondly, housing. This is a big one, especially in what I do. Drastic difference as well. In my experience, your money goes a lot further. You get much more for your money, even though prices are going up in this current circumstance that we're in, living in Atlanta versus California. So Los Angeles housing costs are 166% more expensive than they are in Atlanta. That is huge. And if you've ever visited or you currently live in Los Angeles and you've ever come to Atlanta, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I have learned is that not only the cost of living for your day-to-day, but in terms of housing, getting a home, purchasing a home is drastically different, and you can get a lot more for your money here in Atlanta as compared to Los Angeles. I will say a pro in Los Angeles is the appreciation. The appreciation rate, from what I have experienced and learned, is much greater in Los Angeles than Atlanta, but the overall cost of living, both in day-to-day living and housing, is significantly less expensive here in Atlanta. Next up is schooling, the education comparison between Los Angeles, California and Atlanta, Georgia. So let me read you a few interesting stats and then we'll talk about it. So Los Angeles spends 20% less per student than Atlanta. Interesting. Secondly, and I thought this one was the most impactful, the student-teacher ratio is 72% higher in Los Angeles than it is in Atlanta. So that is huge. The student-teacher ratio is 72% higher in Los Angeles. So what does that mean? The teachers are essentially outnumbered significantly more in Los Angeles as compared to Atlanta. So typically, if the student-to-teacher ratio is smaller, each student gets a more focused level of education or educational experience. So this is huge. This is huge. Something to keep in mind that here in the South, or here in Atlanta specifically, the education system is a little bit more, I guess, efficient as compared to Los Angeles, just in terms of these numbers here, the ratio between students and teachers. Last but not least, Los Angeles had a 15% fewer residents who had graduated high school compared to Atlanta. So 15% less students graduated high school in Los Angeles as compared to Atlanta. So let's talk crime. This is important. Many folks often want to know this. So there is a drastic difference in crime rates and ratios between Los Angeles, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm going to share some statistics with you, and these are general statistics, but the data that I found focuses on two types of crimes: violent crime and property crime. So here in Atlanta, violent crime is 55.3 as compared to Los Angeles, which is 29.1, as compared to the United States average, which is 22.7. So as we can see, Atlanta has a higher violent crime rate than does Los Angeles. Second is property crime. Atlanta, 75.4 as compared to Los Angeles, which is 35.1, as compared to the average, which is 35.4. So across the board, Atlanta has a higher crime rate than the national average. And for Los Angeles, the violent crime rate that Los Angeles has is above the national average, but the property crime rate is actually slightly lower in Los Angeles. A big one is weather. Let's talk about the weather differences between Los Angeles and Atlanta. So I've lived in both, and it is really hard to beat the weather in California in general, but Los Angeles. So here in Atlanta, what I've learned is a drastic difference. You're going to experience all 4 seasons here as compared to Los Angeles, where it's pretty much sunny throughout the year. So what are the biggest differences? As I mentioned before, Atlanta is essentially a city in a forest. So what do you experience here? It's going to be very warm and very muggy and very humid in the summer times. As compared to Los Angeles, in the summertime, the temperature may be high, but you're not going to experience the drastic difference in humidity. Atlanta gets hot, but not only hot, but very humid, very sticky, very muggy in certain times of the year, as compared to Los Angeles, where even though the temperatures may get high, the humidity does not get as high. Primarily, I would imagine because you're next to the coast and you get to take advantage of some of that ocean breeze. So in addition to that, this is just a sidebar. The bugs in Atlanta will drive you insane. They are hot and heavy here. They are gigantic as compared to Los Angeles. That takes a little bit of getting used to as well. But the differences in weather are very, very different. Here in Atlanta, you're going to experience all 4 seasons. As compared to California, Los Angeles in particular, it's pretty much sunny year-round. You may experience some rainfall, but it's significantly less as compared to Atlanta. The rainfall in Atlanta is significantly higher throughout the year. The humidity during the hot months is significantly higher throughout the year. But I will say, during the winter months, during the colder months, it gets cold here. You may actually experience a little bit of snow here in Atlanta versus in California, it's almost non-existent. So definitely something to keep in mind. If you are a person who needs sun constantly 365, Los Angeles is definitely the place to be. As compared to Atlanta, you're going to get sun quite a bit, but it's going to be a little different throughout the year, and you're going to have to deal with that humidity. It is a real thing, and it's something to be prepared for and to keep in mind. And there you have it, everyone. Some pros and cons, some differences between living in Los Angeles, California, and living in Atlanta, Georgia. Again, this is statistics and stats that I found from a variety of sources, and it compares the metro living areas between these 2 cities. Again, I hope this is valuable to you, and it provided some guidance if you are considering moving or transitioning between these 2 cities. So again, my name is tajhwalker, and I am an Atlanta real estate agent in the metro Atlanta area. And if I could be a resource to you, please feel free to reach out to me anytime. I'd love to help. All my contact information is in the description below. Call, text, email, anytime. I'm happy to help. With that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.